One of the augments offering the highest potential cap in the game and being extremely fun at the same time is the Invader Zed. My name is Boris and today we'll quickly look at the Zed himself and then jump in a VOD review from the Darkstar Cup. We would want to be taking this augment in a spot where we can make it to level 9. Ideally this would be a fast 9 board here with this core indicated, and then with Blitzcrank and Nunu offering the highest cap, or Maokai and Tom Kench for a little bit cheaper and more resource efficient version. But you are also completely fine to be playing this augment in a comp where you have a free slot such as Rast or Morgana and able simply to slot in the Zed. From there, we're going to be wanting to start focusing items onto the Zed, as he's going to be one of our win conditions. We are going to get the Spear of Shojin for free, then we're looking to first make Edge of Night and then ideally Adaptive Helm. If you're unable to make that, Protector's Vow or Blue Buff are going to be sufficient. We simply want to get as much mana gen as we can onto this guy, start spamming those clones and overwhelm our opponents with the numbers. But obviously, if you have to stabilize on level 8 first, make sure you can invest items into your 4-cost carry and then slowly make it to the level 9 with the Zed. Certain emblems elevate this unit even further. The big two shoutouts are Meeple and Brawler emblems. Meeple you simply play into any form of a 7 Meeple board. This would currently be with the Corki Riven board, where you're fine to be dropping the mech or the Riven if you do not have items for her. And the Brawler emblem, despite the fix with the bug where they were gaining too much HP, still is very strong, and you are playing into it a Marauder 6 Brawler board, getting as much HP, making the Zed very durable. And usually with these emblems you're keeping the Spear of Shojin and Edge of Night and then replacing the third slot with the emblem. A couple of other shoutouts would go to Mountain Stargazer. You have the free slots, you're fine to just slot it in into your Sniper Zaya board. And the Bastion emblem, where again you're going to be playing in a Corki Riven board, or you can also play this into 4 Bastion Sniper Zaya variant. If we are able to find a portable forge on 4-2 or happen to have the Artifact Anvil encounter, then the strong artifacts would be Zhonya's, allowing Zed to survive longer, replacing that Edge of Night. Otherwise, we replace the last item with the Rapid Fire Cannon, Death's Defiance, and a shout out goes out to Light Shield. Due to this being also tied to a % HP effect, this is going to start popping off and farming those bubbles for you, making your team very durable. This is the same reason why Edge of Night and Zhonya's are quite strong onto the unit. They're tied and the clones are proccing this effect once they drop below the certain HP threshold. Similar shoutout goes to Ice Blast Armor if you're ever finding yourself playing around Anima and loose streaking into this line, but that's going to be a very niche case. However, it's extremely strong if you're able to get there. For the Radiant items, if you have opportunity to choose, we would prio Edge of Night over Adaptive Helm and then lastly Spear of Shojin. Last thing to note regarding positioning, we would ideally be positioning on the opposite side from the enemy carry, as our game plan is to be spamming out these clones and overwhelming our opponents with the numbers. Then you can move your main tank if necessary onto the opposite side as well, simply to stall the main carries from your opponent. Specifically, you have to be careful of the units that have some potential of a splash. Something like Lissandra, Nami and Karma would be the more prominent, or for example Graves with that bullet spread mod as well. As usual, this cheat sheet is going to be available in the link down below, along with all the other cheat sheets I've made. And now let's jump in a VOD review from the Darkstar Cup. For our VOD review, we are jumping in game with Konda from the day 1 of the Darkstar Cup. Konda himself had a great tournament all around, finished in the top 8, that is, made a final lobby. Didn't exactly work out that great in the final lobby, but nonetheless, very consistent performance all around. Our gods for the game are going to be Varus and Thresh. And generally the idea throughout this tournament was that Fast 9 is very strong in the meta. If you're able to get there, you're able to outcap these Corki boards, which simply do not have the opportunity to reach the cap. We are starting out here looking at a Talon 2, most likely to should be made with that sword, and we're going to do so. Otherwise, looking for some potential frontline to pair with it, but find a Zoe pair as well, and Zoe 2 is an absolute beast to be playing around. Also seems to be receiving buffs coming into the next patch. That's going to probably make her an extreme threat. One of the units that can actually lead you to the level 9 fast 9 board, only at a 2-star if you're able to get the prominent frontline and a good arbiter. Otherwise, we are holding also onto the Primordians for a potential econ generation and have this Lissandra pair to be playing around the Shepherds for a possibility, but going to bypass the Teemo as he's fallen out of the favor. Our slam would be something like a Rageblade most likely, especially if we are angling that fast 9, and then the open sword can become many things, either Fiora items or anything along those lines. for our augment is going to be a prismatic opener, and Deadlier Blades is amazing in these core K comps. Even in the Zaya comp it's quite good if you're able to get that stacking, but we do not have an AD opener to be playing around, and we are in the presence of severe lack of frontline right now. Going along is an econ augment that has simply fallen out of the favor. You would generally use this to tempo and then probably bleed out to a top 4, as you're simply not going to have that much econ to be high for the high cap board. But level up is amazing, given the fast line is very strong in the meta. People are going to be ripping this from many multitude of spots, considering that a great econ augment. Some prefer the hedge fund here, did receive a little bit of nerfs going into this patch. We have a standard gold opener as well. This is going to be a little bit better, if I'm not mistaken, in these gold openers, where you're able to start making these higher interest thresholds earlier, but at the same time also in very low gold openers it can be good. Now between the two, level up heavily incentivizes you to be going to that level 9, whereas hedge fund can be used if there's an extremely strong level 8 board to simply roll down for it hard, especially if you know you're going to be contested. And here one could value the extra flip simply to go for and see what other option might show up. But given that we are not in the spot to be win streaking, we're definitely leaning towards an econ augment. Therefore, a Lucky Gloves also is not an option that we will be looking for a tempo, and do not have a glove to pair with it. So he's going to be ripping this level up right away, it seems. It's a choice that definitely can be justified, and we're going to be giving up onto this Zoe pair, as simply maybe we're evaluating to be quite expensive to be holding on to, and allow us to level to 5 right away. Now this is another part of the level up difference between a hedge fund. With the level up, you want to be ideally pushing these early levels to secure some of the wins through the level advantage you're getting, whereas with hedge fund you're more leaning into this full open loss streak. And we can see there's some players in the lobby playing quite big boards. We saw Forged in Strength right there. That might be maybe tempoing. They have a static shift, so they would be also leading into some form of a LeBlanc and a Vex cap. But despite the prismatic opener oftentimes providing quite strong boards, their lobby seems to be split into half. See that there's a trade tree, so that's also an insane item advantage on that part. But here we have this Forged in Strength from Coined. Could be defaulting maybe also the Quirky Riven line, as that is one of the lines that you can utilize many of these artifacts. But have to see where they end up with a Shiv. It's a little bit tricky where you want to be going apart from that LeBlanc. Now we find also a Kaisa, so we definitely have this 3 rogue with the Rage Blade Slam going for it. We're definitely angling fast 9 from this spot, and if any wins that we can secure, and Talon is great for doing so, are going to be a great benefit for ourselves. Spot that we have the potential to be played stronger board here with this Pantheon Analyst Sounder 2. Unfortunately, Q into deleted, who's also at level 5 with these spreading roots, so he simply has that item advantage and also has a very strong board. Is this sorry, it's Arbiter here. Oh, this is a max health shield, so this is also absolutely any 10 instances of damage dealt plus Arbiter is insane on the Talon, since his poison is applied ticking like I believe 18 times. And if you ever find a max HP one with it, and you can stack it early, you can get this guy to like 10,000 HP. But for our boon selection right now, Mini Decombobulator might be an interesting play to consider. I'm not a favor of a 3-cost shop. Maybe we could find a frontliner to be playing around with, like a Maokai would be quite strong here. Otherwise, we are evaluating this as a 3 gold. And obviously, we love gold in this kind of a spot. But since our loss streak just got broken, well, I might be leading a little bit more the Mini Decombobulator doing a reconcision, but this is a tournament game, so I would assume he might be looking to be picking up the Varus here, simply not to risk too much the spot for himself. And yeah, he's going to be going with it. But otherwise, I believe that we would want to be aligning ourselves with Thresh. With the changes that got introduced to Thresh, Thresh actually offers quite high of a cap potential. In the aspect of, especially if you're able to get the HP and attack speed scaling, you can get a value equal to gold augment, or in these fast 9 boards where you might be lacking some item augments, if you high roll, I believe it's 6, you're able to get a lot of these items. Coming up against Experian, who's also playing around a win streak with the Rage Blade Slam, with a BT Slam, and a the level up augment as well, so he is also probably angling the fast 9 board, more than likely. Has that Meep C2, so they have the frontline presence to hold it down. Unfortunately, and again, a loss streak we are picking up here, so now would be ideally would want to end up on a 3 loss, simply to make the maximum econ that we can. The only worrying part is that we do not have that many prospects of spiking on stage 3, especially after making this play here of sacrificing the Lissandra 2. We are pretty much giving up on any form of a AP carry, like a Shepherd mid-game board to be playing around, which is one of the strongest mid-game boards in the game still. And yeah, you can see this Talon's HP is simply not dropping with the shield on him very 10 instances. Once he gets a couple of cast off, he's just getting a perma shield right there. Absolute monster already in the early game. With that one, he just becomes absolutely unkillable. Little oversight. I'm not sure if they have any plans on fixing it. And we have also referred away from making this Spear of Shojin right there, since this sword can become more in line with the Fiora items, or some form of a Graves items, any form of melee carry. And since we're not in a spot to be streaking, we did not have to go for the Spear of Shojin to slam. Otherwise, with the Spear of Shojin, we would pretty much align ourselves to be playing into some Sona and a Bard carry cap. Going into here, a weak player, Millennium Fox, playing around the Timebreaker. So nice that we were able to at least string together a 2-win as our loss streak going into PvE got ruined. And we opted to go with an adaptive slam, a general nice slam to be making. A little hindsight of him seeing the Zed augment right here, of knowing to slam the adaptive rather than the protector as well, but perhaps simply evaluating this chain wrist as a possibility to also become an anti-heal. Since we are playing in the fast 9 plan, the Invader Zed is amazing. Guarantees us a 5 cost. We're going to be gaining here to at level 9 in a possibility to be capping out. And the Spear of Shojin could help us maybe get there. Warlord's Honor is a strong combat augment to be considering if you're able to reach max stacks. Great in these reroll comms to push them even further. Great in these fast 8 boards if you have something like a Yi that you could be already stacking here that you've high rolled. Feed of Flames, otherwise a decent early game at 2-1, a little bit stronger as simply you gain more value out of the Sunfire effect since the fights are longer. But otherwise, if you just simply need to sort that out, it's a fine augment. But mostly in these tempo spots, same goes for replication in the comms that you might want multiple replicating components. Something like a Quirky event where you can utilize sword and a chain, or in Zaya with a bows. Spreading roots, we have our direction established, which would be quite short to be picking. Would be fine if we needed more items, right? You can flex these fast 9 boards a little bit if you are getting creative, but the Zed simply offers a higher cap, and since there are a couple of players already playing fast 9 as well, this gives us a unit that we might go for uncontested, and we know that other 5 costs are going to get pulled out of pool, so we should be in a good position to secure that Zed too. Playing into Coinid, who is playing more around the win streak here with the Force and Strength. It's going to be utilizing the tempo they have from the artifact, and also have found it Lowy too, so they have extremely strong board. I also see Misfits right there, so that's another strong augment to be seeing for these fast 9 boards. But we are simply just trying to preserve as much life as we can. Since we had the Zen, we are pretty much secured Abyss for him already with the hindsight of the adaptive slam, have made that Edge of Night there, and have the Spear of Shojin. Perhaps in the back of his head he was like, there is a possibility that Zed might come, but you know, you could have also held on to holding from slamming for a single fight. Wasn't under the pressure of necessity to do so right away. And now it seems that we are going to be bleeding a little bit as the tempo of the lobby is quite high. These players with the item advantages are kicking our butts. But going in here, and now we would probably wanting to be picking up the Trash Boons. 4 cost and a 3 cost, that's simply 7 gold. Again, we are in necessity of raw gold still, even though we're going to make it to level 9. The amount of gold you need to hit your board is northwards of like 70, 80 gold, right? Especially considering the rolls. Obviously not going to have that if you're going to be having to level on stage 4, but that is an aspect that a lot of players overlook, simply since you know, you make it there with 50 gold. If you just do the math, by if even 2-starring 2 5 costs, that's already 30 gold invested, and you've only had 10 rolls to do so. And if you're playing for multiple ones, you can see this gets very expensive to get there, and obviously you have to make the boot the best you can sometimes to stabilize your board and then secure those upgrades, especially once it comes to being contested on these units. Brother Hoop playing around the with Sniper's Emblem, Deathblade, Rageblade. Could this be some form of a, I would assume, the MF Brawler variation right there? Those would be her items if I had to make a prediction, unless you are playing in a Corki with a Rageblade. Possibility, Living Forge, another strong, some players prefer it over now with the Forged in Strength, due to it providing a little bit more tempo possibilities to be playing around and having the potential to reach the same power spikes, and plus you have this, obviously the chance to select your artifacts rather than just relying on the random ones. Going here again and in a stronger player, so we have not managed to preserve that many lives, but thankfully we're still at 50 HP due to the early game we played. And now have found our Nunu holding onto these Rasts. Absolutely amazing unit to be playing around, even in any form of these boards where you have these normal splashes. Generally you have the possibility to somehow be slotting in the Rast. That seems to be the trend. And we get a prismatic orb that is gold. That is insane for our spot. Maybe a little bailout, but then again we have to remember there is another player playing around level up for whom it's amazing. There was another, maybe the hedge fund player is not that happy, but still, the raw gold, you can't complain whenever you're playing for these fast 9 boards. It's exactly what you want, and you're going to have the potential to either higher cap. Losing here against the Experion, who's win streaking around his level up, so they have played this to the perfection, have even found the MF2 on their side and have an extremely strong board. Now, for ourselves, we have... Well, we saw he ripped the Misfits, but I want to quickly take a look at the... You do not get to see the board right away. Our item situation is what I'm looking to evaluate here. We have a Crown Guard, we have Spear of Shojin, that's the 3 Z items, we have the Rage Blade and the Giant Slayer. Those would be our Vex items, so perhaps that is why we're differing from Staffsmith here. Otherwise, Staffsmith is an incredibly strong item augment you may be considering. Has the possibility to be sorting out either some of the frontline with the Crown Guard or even more backline items. But since we already have 2 Vex items, I believe that is making him decision, as well as he's simply evaluating this Misfits augment. You do not need to be playing Misfortune, right? You don't even need to be playing Rast, but Rast generally fits these boards quite nice. Is a ton of free HP. It is overstated augment for these fast 9 boards when you're able to slot in all these 5, because this is, if I'm not mistaken, about 375 HP on your board, or 385. Just multiply it by 7, you'll get it there. Yeah, 385. There you go. Little buddies, something normal that simply falls out of meta. He doesn't even care about rerolls. We're already pushing the level 9 here. Get our Zed online. Now skipping the upgrade here is the crucial part onto this Akali 2. We're not still that rich, and this Akali 2 would not do anything for our board. We are simply trying to find these 5 costs that are quite contested on a low gold, find a Vex pair that's very nice for ourselves, but our only upgrades here are the Rust 2, are the Nunu 2. It's amazing to secure this Nunu 2 early on, as this is going to hopefully allow the Zed into this stage 4 to scale, but we are here on the same side of the Lysandra, but thankfully she was not able to splash down our Zed just in time, so that's amazing. This is the thing you have to watch out with the positioning of the Zed. You do not want to be on the same side of these carries. You generally want to be opposite side to start reaching the cap. Find a shed, so now our board is pretty much set, and we have the 6 Misfit traits along line as well. That's going to provide us with that nice 330 HP for our board. So we on the 1 stars are going to be quite durable still. Have to look around. There's also some of X's already being pulled out. We have this Zed pair, so that's if we hit Z2, we are in a very strong position. That's also why we have fully invested items into him. Seems that there is a little bit of he has a little bit of an FPS drops, but that's something you could expect from the Zed. 4 tiny duplicators, not something we want. Roll the bones is exactly what we want, on average about 10.5 gold. Simply going to be picking that up right away, and here we could just go for a frontline presence of the item selection, since we want to be completing this 3 item menu as soon as possible as well. See that there's a, yeah, we have to be holding these revents. Already 6 revents pulled out. Do not want to be losing to a backdoor 3-star 4 cost. Get this little bit of gold in. Now we're fully paired on our board. Can we hit Have to be wary. There's the Vex 2 already pulled out with a Darkstar emblem, also extremely high cap present from that. The pings are continuously going in. Someone's muted themselves just to not be any annoyed, but let's see how we fare against this Corki Riven board. Now the thing is, once you get to these overwhelming numbers, sometimes these carries, especially with a single target, you struggle, and you can see this is the thing. You were on the opposite side, you were able to get to the stack and overwhelm the Corki and secure the win from there. Now making this Shen 2 might be a... Yeah, we're removing our graphics low. This Zed is making ourselves a little bit low on FPS, but there's this 7 Shepherd here as well. No, that should be 7 Shepherd with the Vex 2, with a Sona 2 there. That's also very prominent. So can our 1-stars simply do it? But it seems that, yeah, this Misfits augment is absolutely also insane and lost. The Vex got their scaling, but another part that just occurred to me is that this Misfits augment could be giving the HP buff to your Zed clones. Would have to check the HP bars coming into the fight, but now we're simply looking for the completion of frontline items, and this could become a Sunfire if we wanted in a jeweled gauntlet. Might have to just simply consider taking it. We need this gold, and the Z2 is online. And now we are in a rolling position to be going for... yeah, this Vex 2 seems to be contested in many directions, but the Fiora there, that's the thing, with regards to mating the Shen, we do not really have the items for him. Perhaps we had to evaluate that possibility of making even more, of going for more of these prominent carries, something like a Blitz 2 that we have here, and the Vex 2 that obviously would be the choice. As, well, Shen has been quite underwhelming throughout the set so far, and it seems that they might benefit or not. I am having a hard time seeing. Let's do a quick look around, and it seems that, okay, this should be the real Zed and this should be the off Zed. So it seems that the clones do not benefit from the Misfits augment. If they do, then obviously I could see that this would be an immediate pull to go for, and Thresh Print as an open component that's extremely nice, as we are item hungry right now. And simply have to live long enough to get this Thresh scaling, get to these extra items, itemize our high value units against a massive Cho'Gath 3 with a Soraka's Miracle. But again, we are being fortunate enough to be on the opposite side. This Lysandra is going to have troubles keeping up with the Zed, and we're able to overwhelm them quite easily once again. There is a Graves 2 right there with a Rageblade and a BT, not the optimal build, but that is another unit we have to be wary of, since he has the possibility of scaling to considerable numbers, and especially with the spread shot, for example, he has the possibility of cleaning ourselves up, as the AoE components can definitely take out Zed if you're able to get there. Against the Master Yi standard board here from Coin, it seems that they've played their Fortune Strength into this. Not exactly sure how strong that is. They have the Titanic Hydra, which should be a generally good item, but this just seems to be a repeating pattern now. The Zed is simply overwhelming absolutely all these boards as long as he's able to stay durable during the early fights. Misfits providing that extra HP buffer for him to do so, and the Thresh rolls have provided us with more attack speed to get those clones out faster, more HP to be even more durable. Now, question could be done here that perhaps we could have transitioned the items, the Jeweled Gauntlet plus the Giant Slayer here onto this Blitzcrank. Obviously with Rageblade he wouldn't have done that much, but maybe he's simply evaluating that this Vex is going to stay quite safe. Nonetheless, it seems that it doesn't matter really. We are going up against this Mammoth reroll here. Again, absolutely overwhelming numbers from the Zed clones, and we are able to pick up a win, and we are completely fine here. We have identified that we are stable. This is a good point that to be noted. He has noticed that this Vex is quite contested, and we are definitely quite stable. We are healthy. We are at least about 3 lives in this game, so we are fine to be sacking here, trying to make our way to level 10, make most use of this level up augment, and then simply find a Vex 2 by hopefully some of these players dying. And against this deleted board here, now even though with the 7 Shepherd stun, again, other side, Zed gets these clones out, they keep multiplying and multiplying, and this is why this augment has been so strong. And Zed unit definitely quite fun. The hard part is actually getting to it and getting to Z2, right? Especially since you have to make the item investment, and you're pretty much forced to, since it's an augment that you are playing around. Also holding on to this Jin, so that seems that that's going to be his next in most likely. That he's considering. Nice to get the armor reduction for our Zed there. And the Graves would be simply too slow to be considering at this point. Could be a pick up with Adaptive Helm. Not going to put it on Nunu, that's an interesting take here. Experion here also has made it to level 10 onto the Vex pair. Now we are on the same side, but a Vex splash damage early fight is not that much, and this Nunu has this extra HP buffer. Now she's starting to work onto these Zed clones, and the scaling is kicking in, but we are out on our same side, and it's an extremely close fight, but they simply have a little bit more onto their going. They have these items, and now we have found our Vex 2 and Blitz 2. This was the diff. Have to maybe go for the deep Abyss with double Sunfire. It is what it is. The fights are very deciding at this point. Do not want to have anyone else cap higher, especially after we pretty much hit everything we could be asking for right now. Into the 7 Shepherd board again on the same side. Now that our Nunu has 3 completed items at least, hopefully he's going to be able to stall a little bit longer. The Zeds have started to work on the backline already, and the clones are simply spawning in. Easy win against the ghost fight. Let's see how we fare against the real one. This has the possibility to be going quite long. Now the trash gives us another belt. Would have preferred the Warmogs there, but hey, you cannot risk it. Well, the super smart play you could have done for was waited to see the matchup and see if you actually needed to slam the second Sunfire, and then maybe have the high roll of re-rolling a component back to back, but hey, it is what it is, you have to make the call. And now against the deleted real Shepherd board, seems that the pattern is going to be repeating the same. The Zed is simply protected enough by the Nunu and has the amount of HP on him to spawn these clones and able to overwhelm him, as they do not have enough burst damage to get through this Nunu and target onto the Zed quickly enough. And we have made it to the 3 item Blitzcrank as well. So that's going to be very strong for ourselves, providing even a third carry. And now against the Experion's Fast 9 board, again, we are not even considering positioning swapping. We're just saying this is going to be fine. Now we can see this Graves here with the spread has the possibility to clear out these Zed clones. And this is why these fights are so close, and we are going to be losing it. I would say that we here, if we were on the other side, we have definitely had a possibility to win this fight. Now he's going to be doing a little bit. Okay, we're going to swap 2 units around. Fair enough. Maybe that's going to be the trick enough. As since with we have to move around the Shen cluster, we are kind of predictable to when we are going to be doing swaps, unless we are trying to something like a fake swap. I believe that we should be having an easy win here against especially the Ghost Shepherd board. So our top 2 should be pretty much secured. Deleted dropping down to 5 HP, but we are going into the stage 7 now. The trash scaling is quite strong, and deleted is going to be lacking simply in that power as well. Do not think there's going to be any, there's not going to be any 3-star 5 costs coming in, and we have the possibility to go for 3-star Zed. This is the uncontested unit, and there's not really much else we could be rolling for. Okay, we found this Akali too. Aatrox 2 is a possibility. Sword the Sandro out for ourselves. That's a great pickup that we having here. No, wait, we have that from the Aatrox anyhow, right? I don't know why. We are completely good with it. And now going up against the deleted board, we have just simply too much power for him to be keeping up with the trash scaling, providing those extra stats. And since we have a combat augment on our side from Misfits, we are very strong. And it seems that we might have beaten the experience board as a ghost as well, so that's a great sign. Going to be giving up on this Z2 as simply fishing for the Aatrox 2. Nothing else we could be going for. Hovering that to see if we need to swap the Zed, going to be keep him into this middle position. Does get clipped still by this Graves. The clones are spawning in, and they're getting targeted quite early on, but we had the chance to improve our new itemization, so he was a little bit more durable, and we overwhelmed Experion, able to pick up the win here. Now, yeah, this is a very crucial part. We were able to get this Crown Guard Steadfast combo on our Nunu. And simply with the extra HP rolls, would be nice field hover trash to see the Zed is durable enough, has the attack speed to spawn out extra clones, and the Graves is simply unable to keep up with all of them. Even though on little lives, it's enough to buy time for the Vex scale and clean up his backline. Greatly played game by Konda here, showing just why he was able to make that final lobby. Playing very... Tried to play it early aggressively, didn't exactly work out, but still slammed the items, did everything to preserve enough HP, had that prismatic orb bailout to give a little bit more gold to be capping out our board and secure those upgrades, identified at which point we're stable and not needing to dig more, making our way to level 10, and finally completing our cap and gradually improving our item situation throughout. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and we'll just see you in the next one. Have a good one.